Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Ollie, and today we'll be running through back orders in Prima. If you've got any questions during or after the session, Mike will be on the YouTube chat where he'll be available to speak to as well. Okay, I've just realised I need to make that a bit bigger as well, sorry. There we go, sorry about that. Okay, so effectively what we'll be running through today is back orders, what they mean to Prima, how you can manage them, the most kind of efficient ways to do so as well, and chasing the back orders up with suppliers, having some sort of automation around reporting on the areas as well. So first of all, back orders, what do they mean to Prima, where are they kept, and how you can manage them. So effectively within your receipts area of Prima and in available lines, if I just go into movements and receipts, and then within here, if you go to available lines, this is then kind of the back orders area in Prima. So the back orders report, this is then where the items will show. So what you've got there is all the items that are expected in at a certain date that have gone on back order. So it could be the case that either you put these through purchasing and you've not ticked the option to automatically create the receipt note, or it could be the option where basically you've sent it down the link to like Vow, Spices, Antalis, etc. and their EDI system has wrote back to the purchase order to say, right, okay, this item's on back order, it's not expected in until such a date, for example this one here, until the 12th of April. That would then put the item into this area and update the receipt note. So what I'm talking about there in terms of automatically building the receipt note, if I just go into the purchase order lookup and just find an outstanding order just to show you that. So when you come into your purchase order to purchase it, you've got purchase options that will pop up. So there's a tick option for auto build receipt note. So this one here, so if this was not ticked, so if it was like a non-EDI supplier, for example, like this one, auto build receipt note, if that's unticked, it would go straight into effectively the back orders list in that receipt available lines. If that is ticked, then it would go onto a receipt note automatically, and then you would need to manage that to say, right, okay, well actually this item's gone onto back order, the supplier's told me so, and then you can then update your receipt note, which will go through as well. The receipts pre-book option is just basically put it on a receipt note, and it's kind of expecting that in to be next day as well. So on your dispatch note, it's just kind of a standard to show on the dispatch note as though it's not to follow on there as well. Okay, so in terms of the receipt note then, if it was ticked as the option to also build a receipt note for the likes of the EDI orders, what you would need to do is in this outstanding list of receipts, if I just run a search, these are then the items. If I just put the status back on outstanding, actually, these outstanding receipts then is what you're going to be booking in to say this has come in, and so on. So if I go into this first one as an example, if this item for whatever reason has not come in, you would then highlight the line or double click the line, hit the bin icon, and that would then send it back into this available line section. So what you're doing there is you put it through purchasing, but then you're just sending it back a step and saying, actually no, that's not come in, and that would then force a line back into available lines, which is then your back order. What you can then also do is within the purchase order, a way that you can chase the back orders is have some preset filters on. So as an example here, if I search for everything that's awaiting receipt, partially received, and stocked on pre-book, this is a good way to find those items that are on back order. And if it was one of the cases where it's awaiting receipt, you can come into the purchase order, double click the line, and then within this extension tab here, you've got the option then to update the expected date. So you can say, actually, well, I spoke to Spices today, they've advised me it's going to be coming in on the 19th, or it's going to be later. Then from there, then you can update the expected date, save that, and then on the receipts available line, within this section, and also on your report, your expected delivery date there then would be updated as well. So updating your receipt lines and purchase orders. So on the receipt section, it's just a case of going into the outstanding receipt note. If it's been selected to be onto a receipt note, delete it off, send it back into this available line section, and then from there then you can basically manage your back orders this way. So if the item was on back order, coming the next day, just a case of highlighting lines that have come in, creating your notes, and completing those as normal just to confirm the delivery of the goods. So everything that's within here, as you're probably seeing then in my available line section, I've got a preset filter. So what I have set it to is date required of tomorrow, click search, and then any items that are required for tomorrow, I would then have a full list of the items that apply to this search. So to set those filters up, what you can do is, if for example I wanted to see everything that was required in April, as an example, maybe March actually on this test database to see if there's any data, then you can see those items. And if you wanted that as a set search, it probably wouldn't be March, it'd probably be something like date required tomorrow. You can right click on this little head icon and create a new filter. So you can see there I've got 2 filters already for tomorrow and south tomorrow, which is just the van route that I've set as well. So on this test database it's not showing anything at the moment, but you can have as many filters as you want to based on date required this month, tomorrow, this year, and so on, and you can just basically filter out the back order items that way as well. Okay, coming back to the purchase order lookup, so what I mentioned there about setting up a filter for these statuses, so these items here, these statuses rather, awaiting receipt, partially received, and stocked on pre-booking note, basically those items have not yet been confirmed as received into yourself. So all these items and orders here would effectively be your back orders list, or those that are on receipt notes. So what I've done there is I've ticked the search options there against the status. I've then right clicked on this icon over here, which I would just make that smaller, right clicked over here, and I've set that up then as outstanding orders as the default, or back orders when I want to come into it and say, actually, rather than looking at outstanding orders each time, I can do back orders, click search, and you can find those orders ready to be chased then. So as an example, we can go into this first one, see the information, who's the supplier, what the item code is, and then make any changes to it or chase that up as well. Okay, so just to reiterate, changing the date in the extension of the line, that's where you go to amend this date. So if it was an EDI order, this would automatically be updated. If it's a manual order or you need to make a manual change to it, you can come into here and update those dates as well. Okay, so the next section, which is the back order report. So in terms of reporting on those, you can come into the receipts area, go to available lines and find the items that are a back order, but a more efficient way of doing so would be to set up the back order report on an automated routine, which basically, rather than coming into it every morning to check your back orders or every evening, then what you can do is set up an automated report, drop into your inbox or multiple inboxes, and then see that information straight away. So rather than having to go in, update the system and finding that out, you can see it straight away. So to do that, within the reporting and report section, and if you search on the standard reports and spreadsheet, there's one called back orders. So if I just open that report, everything from available lines of receipts will show in this report. So you can see there straight away, if I just maximise that, you can see the likes of stock code, description, the unit quantity and so on, when it's required, when the date is expected to be. So when you're updating the purchase line to say, right, okay, well that one's updated and that's going to be coming in this time next week, then you'll be able to see that update on this report as well. So scrolling across, so you can see a lot of information in this report, so you can customise them as well, which I'll go through in a moment. The next tab along, you've got alternative suppliers. So if there's an item that's been on back order for ages, you want to change the supplier and just get it in for the customer ASAP, you can scroll across, and then on the alternative suppliers, you'll be able to see the supplier information, the costs of the items and so on. So alternative supplier, the code, the price, and so on as well. So it's quite a good way of managing the back orders. So in terms of customizing this information to the layout that you're wanting, what you would do is go to edit layout, which will then take you into the Grape City report designer. You can untick that if you don't want this to pop up each time, by the way, as well. Click OK, and then within here, this is then similar to an Excel format. This is where you can then update the report and rearrange the way that it's viewed as well. So as an example, if I just scroll across to the right on this sheet, I may want to see the supplier straight away. I may want to see the customer's info straight away. So from there you can say who's the customer. So Ollie Rolls FC. I need to contact. Let's scroll across to who the contact is. I need to contact myself on such and such a email, such and such a contact number, and then from there, then you can update them on the back orders as well. So it's good kind of service offering. And then scrolling to the right, you can see the supplier. So as an example, I want to see the supplier information. Rather than scrolling across all the way to the right, I want a report to show me the supplier info straight away. So scrolling to the right, what you would need to do is highlight the column just by clicking on it, right click and cut the column open. So what you would do then, you're leaving something behind, but you can delete that later on. So if I just scroll to the left, you would then insert a column. So if I insert it into here, right click and insert just one column, and then from there then you can right click and paste, so you can Control and V to paste it over, and then from there then you've switched your supplier over to this hand side here, and maybe you're wanting to see some more info such as the supplier's telephone number. So what you can do there is, let's have a look, supplier telephone number is highlight the cell, right click and cut, insert the column that you're after, and then insert, and then Control and V or right click and paste and put that information in there. So straight away then we've customized this report. I can see straight away the items for VOW and the contact number, so I can call them and chase up the back orders. Scrolling across to the right, there may be other things that you'd prefer. You can create like a customer back order report where you've got all the customers' details at the front. You can call them to update them on the back orders, and you could have a back order report specifically for suppliers and chasing up the back orders as well. More information here along the right hand side is likes of requirement type. So if it's coming into stock, is it for a sales order, you can see all that info as well. So same principle on this sheet. You can just right click and cut the information and paste it into the area that you're wanting to see it, rather than having it in a different layout. So now I've customized this layout, what I may want to do is add a filter to it. So rather than seeing all suppliers, I may just want to see just VOW, just Trueline, just Spices, etc, etc. So what you can do, when you highlight the column, you've got this option on your right hand side, and if you scroll to the right, the top option there for allow auto filter, if I just change that to true, that then applies a filter to there, so I can basic filter out what I'm wanting to see. If you're wanting to allow a sort by, let's have a think what we could use for that one. So the delivery date, for example, you could then use that as allow it to sort, and then from there then I can just basically sort out which deliveries are earliest, which ones are most likely to come in this week. So from there then, once you're happy with the report, you made all your changes, you'd then file, apply and exit, which then saves the change against the report and puts it into this area. And if I'm then wanting to save this as a custom copy, all you do, click save as, and then give it the name. So as an example, I'll just call it Ollie's back orders, click OK, and that's then saved as a custom report in your database. So I can come into the system each day, open this report, see the information. Alternatively, what you can do, now I've customized that report to my liking, I can then send this on an automated routine to my inbox every day, every week, whatever you may want to set up. So just coming back to this report before I move on, in terms of the sort now, you can just click on the sort option, and you can also click on the supplier there and say, right, okay, just show me VOWs, and you can see all that information. So it's really useful to see. Okay, in the administration, so for the automated report setup, you'd come into here to basically set that up. Okay, so where you would go, so automation, auto report setup, and then add automated reports. So we have got a webinar specifically for reporting and automated reports as well, but just to cover that one briefly. So you come into this section. If you've got one already set up, just need to click new in the bottom left. The report defaults to spreadsheets, that's fine. So you can see there the back orders report, which is the standard report, is pulling through by default. But I want to find the back orders report for myself. So this one, which I've just created. So Ollie's back orders, and then I want to send it to. So I'll just put my email address into there. .co.uk, and then I can put in a subject. So if you wanted multiple email addresses, just use a semicolon, and you can pop on your multiple email addresses as well. So if I just put in back orders, put in the body of the email whatever you want. So hi Ollie, find the back orders attached. So what you would do then is save the entry into the automated report section, add the schedule. So this is then when you're going to be telling the system how often you're wanting to receive the report. So if I wanted it every day at 1:15, then I can click save, and that would then send on Monday to Friday at 1:15 every week. So recur every week. You can set up on a monthly routine. So on that webinar again, you can set it to like the first day of the month, the first day of the week, and so on. You can see that information. So if I set up as weekly, had them all ticked, save that. That's now set up, so every time at 1:15 I'll receive a copy of that report to this inbox. Okay, just to recap the report, to find it in the system, now set up as a custom copy, rather than search on the standard version, just tick on the custom, click search, and then from there then you can find all customized reports in the system, including the one we just customized then as well. Okay, so just to recap the session, what we've covered, so the back orders in Prima would be within your movements and receipts section, which is this goods in at the top, is everything in the available lines section, so anything that's on back order with your supplier. You can set up filters to in each area of the system, so if you come into the receipts grid, if you come to the available lines grid, to basically have the search is set already, so you can click search straight away and you can see all the information that you're wanting to see straight away. Within the purchase order grid, for those settings you can basically set up a grid for particular statuses to be able to chase up those orders with your supplier, or alternatively you can use the back order report as well to chase up that information with them too. That's everything that I wanted to cover in today's session. If you do have any questions, myself and Mike will be on the live chat afterwards. Any training, contact the training team and we'll be happy to help as well. Thank you for your time today. Have a great weekend and we'll see you next week.